Hello and welcome to February here on the No Water Press Publishing and Consulting YouTube channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Dana, and this channel is an eclectic mix of all the different things that go into making up this writer's life. I thought I'd kick off this month's video content by doing a flip through of the three planners that I am using this year. Now, of course, this is not a planner channel, so you might be asking, why am I doing that? Well, what I found is that it's so much easier for me to talk about certain things while I'm doing other things. So, for example, I first started doing videos while driving home from my then day job. During my commute, I would just turn on the camera and riff on whatever was on my mind. That is my preferred method of creating video. But since quitting my day job back in April 2021 to go full-time in my business, I've been struggling to find ways to do this kind of thing that's comfortable. And I know, yes, you're supposed to get out of your comfort zone and do things different, whatever. I got to do what works for me. And what works for me is to not look at the camera while I'm talking to the camera, if that makes any sense. So anyway, so what we're going to do is, like I said, at least kicking off this month's content, I'm going to do a quick flip through on how January looks in the, like I said, three planners that I'm using this year. I'm going to talk about my planning process a little bit, probably. But more importantly, we're going to talk about what's coming up in February because we've got a couple of things launching and really looking forward to getting folks in the door, so to speak. Oh, and something else too, you may have noticed that I'm doing shorts, reels, and TikToks. I'm posting them every day this year, with the exception of Thursdays, which is when my long form video goes live, and Sundays, which is my off day. Those are my sacred self-care days. I don't work those days unless I absolutely, positively want to. Otherwise, Sundays are my downtime. So anyway, all that to say, I successfully completed all 20 days of January. So you will see, depending on your platform of choice, you will see a short, reel, or TikTok for that particular day. What am I doing in those little short form videos? I'm glad you asked. In January, I was reading the first sentence found on the page out of my first novella. Let's see if we can get the glare here. Okay, there we go. Let There Be Life. And I have to admit, some of them cracked me up. In fact, in case you missed it, I'm going to insert one of my favorites here. In fact, it was a fight that first brought her into the circle. It's the fumbling with the boxing gloves that gets me every time. But anyway, so to carry on, I found that doing it that way was just easy, right? I could just big bam boom, read, record, quick edit, post, right? And so I'm going to continue doing that at least through February. And the book that I will be reading from is another novella that I did, it's most recent, called Eat, Pray, Blood. It started off as a short story in one of my other story collections, and I expanded it just a little bit. There were a couple of pieces that I left out of that short story that I think really worked better as a standalone. So anyway, Eat, Pray, Blood. It's a thinly parodied, no, it's a thin parody of a self-help book for newly turned vampires. So if you're at all interested, stay tuned and be looking out for the shorts, reels, and TikToks where I am reading from Eat, Pray, Blood. All right, that's enough introduction. Let's go ahead and turn this camera around and start flipping through the pages so I can talk to you more about what's going on this month. Mentioned, I'm using 3 planners this year. I have a 6-month daily plum paper planner. I have a 6-month weekly Moxie Life undated. And I have my ritual planner for my tarot practice. And I use all 3 of these, keep my head in the game, so to speak. You see, again, I am a self-published author who quit her day job to go full-time in her business well before the business was profitable. I don't recommend you doing that at all, but I am certainly one who jumps first and thinks about the landing well after I have begun the free fall. And while this has put me in a relatively uncomfortable position at this point in my life, I got to thinking about it and I realized that I'm grateful for where I am because it continues to strengthen my resolve and my determination to make this work. Not a lot of people take these kinds of risks, which is an interesting segue into what's coming up this month and beyond. Now, don't let the multiple planners fool you. This writer's life is not that busy or that exciting, but I do have a couple of projects I'm working on, and I'd like to tell you about them. So first, I'm working on my 8th book. I'm at that 2nd revision stage where I'm filling in the many plot holes and getting it ready for her first beta read. Basically, I'm going to hand it off and let a couple of members of my target audience give her the once over and let me know what, if anything, I need to change, add, or take out. And then in between revision sessions, I'm opening the doors for another session of my Simply Self-Published course and coaching group. Spaces are limited to 15 participants, so if after watching this video it's something that you're really interested in, highly recommend that you go ahead and click the links in the description box below to reserve your seat. But let me back up for a minute and at least let you know the details. So the course lasts for 12 weeks. There's an online option, and thanks to my partnership with the Crazy Book Lady used bookstore here in Ackworth, Georgia, there's also an in-person group. At the end of the 12 weeks, you could end up with a complete project outline, a tailor-made for you writing schedule, time to complete your first draft, side note, that's typically up to 50,000 words, and a no to low cost book launch and marketing plan. As I mentioned, links to both are going to be in the description box below. Now, I would imagine that you may have 1 or 2 additional questions or need some more information, and that's cool. I'm offering free consultations as well while registration is open, so I can chat with people to find out if it's a good fit and how this group would work to help you reach your self-publishing goals. That link as well is going to be in the description box. So I talk to people consistently about writing books about self-publishing. Because a lot of people, when they find out that I'm an author, one of the first things they say is, I've always wanted to write a book, or I have a really good idea for a book. And when I prod them a little further and I ask them, well, why haven't you sat down to write it yet? So many of them tell me they don't have the time, they don't have the talent, they're not even sure where to begin. And I get that. A lot of what I hear underneath the excuses is a fear of taking the risk of putting their idea out there for other people to see. And so that is what drove me to begin my Simply Self-Published workshops and coaching practice. Because initially, all I wanted to be was a famous published author. But what I realized is while I enjoy the writing part, that's still more of a hobby for me. The writing is a side hustle, if you will. I'm always going to tell stories. That's just, it's in my blood. It's breathing for me. I'm always going to write and tell stories. What I realize is that I also have a passion for helping others realize their dream of becoming a writer. Now, whether they want to go on to be famous, make a lot of money, or anything like that, it's not really for me to say, because a whole lot of other factors go into whether or not someone's going to be famous as a writer. But I can at least help them get past the fear and self-doubt and produce their first or next book. All right, that's it for today's Day in the Life. I'll be back next week with another video, but in the meantime, hope that you enjoy this month's dramatic readings from Eat, Pray, Blood. And that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and maybe check out one of the other videos showing here. Thanks. Okay, bye.